All right, guys. We're going to start then. So nice to see you all, and nice to see you again for those who stayed after the previous talk. There are so many talks to attend to during these days. I thank you for coming and see me here for this feature, so you won't be deceived. Deceived? I think disappointed is the correct word in English. Good. So today for Odoo 18, I'm happy to show you a new feature about the sales quotation that we are launching, and it really shows how Odoo is making a step forward in being able to deliver complex quotes and also custom quotes. All right. So we will see this together, and for that, we'll directly jump into the business case that we will be solving today. So today, I would like to talk to you about solar panels. So you may or may not have solar panels at home, and for those who do, you know that it is a very technical topic. You need to go through an audit of your household electrical features. You also need to understand what your consumption profile is, and also take into account your equipments. Whoops, this is a nice car, I would like to show it. Equipments, and in this journey, you will go through many questions actually, and some examples of questions that you will need to tackle would be, how large is your roof? How many square meters do you have to install solar panels? But then how many solar panels should you need, right? To cover your consumption. But then the next question is, what is your consumption, right? And there's so many questions that you need to ask yourself, and there's many more factors that you could incorporate, like where the sun is oriented, maybe the shading that will be impacting your house. And more importantly, you also need to communicate to your salesperson that your lovely neighbors has a taller house than yours, so solid 3 meters higher than yours, to be fair. And this leaves you in the shadow of a lower return on investment for your solar panels. And that is a very important thing that you need to communicate for your salesperson as well. Now, taking a step back from the end customer point of view, as a salesperson that receives this flood of information, you need to process them correctly in order to come back with the right solution for your customer. At this point, you can use your expertise and your industry knowledge in order to come up with the right indication or suggestion. For example, since only one half of the roof is spoiled by this taller building, you can try to optimize the solar panels on the other side, right? But once you really get into it, you are left with nothing else but really measures, technical details, and basically a grid of rules that you need to follow in order to find the right fit. And we believe that Odoo should go one step further in helping those poor salespeople, because as a regular salesperson, you really cannot and should not be a walking encyclopedia. You should have a tool that helps you make nice recommendations and suggestions to your customer, and this is what we are going to see together. So, a recap of all the challenges ahead, and we will see how Odoo can support both sides. So the first side will be the customer, and you will know that your customers is going to face technical topics on which they need to get educated as well. They need to understand the limitations behind your technical products, because it will help them keep their expectations realistic first, and also reduce all frustration that may arise from it. It also helps them understand how to better take care of your product and how to take advantage of them. Then on the other side, solar panels is not something that you can buy on a regular basis. You won't buy solar panels as you would be buying shoes. It depends on what type of shoes you are buying, of course, but for most people at least, solar panels should be a consequent investment, and that is a huge added value as a business to be able to provide your customer with an horizon or a projection of how the money is going to be invested and how it will be evolving in the next years. So that is also something that Odoo can help with. On the salesperson side, there's also another responsibility. They need to keep their quotations up to date. The product catalog and the prices can change a lot, and having an Odoo database already helps them a lot in that regard. They will also be dealing with customization complexity. So each house and each roof is different, and for this reason they need to deal with technical details that must be communicated both to the customer as well as to the technician that will be working in the end. All right? Another challenge is the integration of the customer profile. It is interesting for your salesperson to dig a bit further into, is your customer a heavy consumer? Are they more on the cost-efficient side? Because those are elements that can also help refining your quotations. All right? With these elements in mind, with this context in mind, we can now jump to Odoo. So, I arrived here on the home screen of Odoo, and everything starts from the sales app. So the sales app is right there, and you will need to activate the quotation templates. In my case here, it is already activated, of course. And for those who never touched upon a quotation template before, they can be accessed either through here or through the configuration and quotation templates menu. In both cases, we make sure that only sales admin are able to create and edit those to avoid, of course, pollution and a mess on your database. So let's try to create one together to see how this works already. I will create here a new quotation to my customer 50 cents. He needs solar panels, and I will load it. If I use it, you will notice different things that happen. The first thing is the expiration date. It was set to be in 50 days because this is our validity policy. We can only keep prices for so long before they get reviewed. And then all the lines were loaded for me. This means sections, product screenshot, and notes. All right? If I go in the quotation template configuration, you will see that I have more parameters that I could have played on, like the invoicing journal, the mail. I could have added optional products, and also the code builder. So for those who are curious about it, it's a way to improve your PDF that you provide to your customer, to add more technical documents, brand identity, and so on. I won't spend too much time on this feature because there's a specific talk about the code builder, which I will reference at the end of my talk. So for those who are interested, of course, feel free to see my colleague. So coming back here on my quotation, I would like to point out certain limitations because at this point we only use templates. There's no calculator yet. Some limitations that you may have noticed is that first, all the templates are static. Static in the sense that it loads for me lines and products, which is already a great help, but it doesn't recompute the number of panels, for example, which should be there for my customer, right? So you can create only so many templates in advance to cover one case or the other, but you don't have something that is really creating a tailored experience for your customers. First drawback. Second drawback is that it's not really suited for mass edition. What I mean by mass edition is that if you have a higher stake quotation with maybe tens or hundreds of lines, if you have all the lines loaded for you, that is already a huge time saver for you, of course, but if you still need to go through each single line to customize it and tailor it to our customer, you still spend a consequent amount of time. And we believe we can do better for this. The third limitation, would be the fact that I cannot incorporate external data in there. I cannot say that 50 cents is a heavy consumer, that he has a specific energy consumption for the year. I cannot say that this big villa roof is super big and has 400 square meters. I cannot say that to my templates, all right? And that's the reason why we're going to make a calculator together. But before that, I just want to show you around the database for you to understand what we are going to play with and how they're going to be incorporated in my calculator. The first point will be the categories. You can see, like I sell two different brands of panels. The first one is more cost efficient. The second one is more premium. It is more efficient, but the price also comes with its efficiency, of course. And I will be selling inverters. So for those who don't know, inverters is typically an electronical piece that helps convert your direct current from your panels to AC for your house, right? There's two types of inverters. There's either the classic, which is a big piece that converts it for all your panels, or micro inverters that will be fixed to each single solar panel. This means that if you use one or the other, the quantity should change. It should match or not your solar panel, right? Then I will be showing the product quickly to have it in this way through the categories. I have different panels, of course, I have different efficiency, and more importantly, I do have labor costs. Labor cost is the manual work required for your panels to be installed. It will be different depending on the type of your roof. If it is pitched or flat, this should make a difference. And if you install 10 or 30 panels, of course, it does not take the same amount of time and effort, so it should be realistic in this regard as well. Cool? So, we're going to finally create a quotation template together, but you have all the elements in mind at least. So, a new quotation template that I will call Solar Panel Richard. Sorry for the typos. And then we create two quick sections. I want to create one about materials and a second one about the labor cost. So the sections are nice because you do have a nice subtotal that will gather everything that will be for the panels and the inverter and then the labor cost on the other side. So that's a way to organize it. I will put my flagship panel here and also the inverter that goes with it. Drag and drop it to the right place and finally insert my labor cost as well. All right? And put it to 50 days, as I said. So I will use it in my quotation template right here and see that I've got this covered. Now to have the right calculator, that is the exciting point, you will go here and now write, for example, again, SP Richard to create the calculator, and now you can switch to the calculator right here. So you now jumped right into Odoo spreadsheet. Let me make it a bit beautiful for you, so I'll just use a quick format. I will get rid of all the columns that are not useful for us. We will keep it simple, right? So we only take the unit price, the quantity, and the product in there. And boom, boom. And I think that's pretty much it. Let me check. No, yeah, that's true. I do have empty lines because those are the sections. And for it to appear, I would simply go there and add a new column to display the name of those columns right here. And now I also see those columns, and I will hide this product here. So I have my section, all my products, and so on. What I need to do now is to let the salesperson enter certain coefficients. For example, I will let them the opportunity to enter the average consumption from their customer. I also want them to enter the roof size and also the roof type. Okay? I will put this in a table again, here, there, for them to play with. And what I want them now to compute in their quote is two things. First, I want the number of panels to be reflective of the roof size in the consumption. Secondly, I want the labor cost to be computed, so I'm going to highlight them. And those are the two fields that we are going to compute together. So again, I'm creating a small table, so new panel quantity and the labor costs that should be applied to it. All right, again, little layout here. And I want this to be done. The first thing we're going to do is to compute the number of panels. So for this, we have a quick rule of thumb. I'm only going to take the roof size divided by 2, and then I will subtract 1. We do know that in reality it is much more complex, but the idea is to have a quick estimation of what could be something that makes sense. So for a roof of 36 square meters, you could have 17 solar panels installed if it is the effective square meters for your house. All right? So we have this covered. Now we will be working on the labor cost. For the labor cost, we have a specific policy, so let me fetch it for you. I'll go here to Documents. I will go here, fetch this small table, and we'll dig into it together. Wait, I think I miscopied it quickly. Let me do it to be sure. Going back here, templates, to my calculator right there. And I will copy it. So the way it works is that we cover two types of roof, a tile roof and a slate roof. We have a base price, and then we also have a price per panel, all right? So the way to compute the labor cost is quite simple. It only is a VLOOKUP. I'll do something before, sorry. I just want to ease the work for my salespeople, so I put some conditional validation for the data. I want to say that here I want to have a drop-down list of values that are in this range to only have those two type of roofs. So I have this covered right here, confirm and save. And with this, I can now select only those two. And now I will do my VLOOKUP to look for this value in this table now. It is an HLOOKUP actually. It is an HLOOKUP of this roof type in this range. I will first take the second line to have the base, right? And then to this, I will add the price per panel, so another HLOOKUP of the same value which was there. In this table again, taking the third line, and I will multiply this by the quantity that was expected from my small computation. All right, so here I have my labor cost computed, and those two values are the things that should be used and reinserted in my quotation template. I'll only do a quick thing before, because I also need to take care of the consumption. And for this, I want to explain to my customer that I can have an expected production, which is a technical parameter for my products. So for this, I cheated a little bit. So I'll go to my products, and I'll show you that here I added a new field with Studio with a customization tool that lets you create new structure for your fields. And here I have what we call the peak power capacity, which reflects the power that is expected to be delivered over a year for this specific unit. So to take this into account, I'll simply insert it as a list. So that also is the powerful fact about dashboard. You can take data from anywhere else. I will insert it in my dashboard, my quotation templates, right here as a list. And I will quickly need to keep only 2 columns. And I want the name, display name, to be used right here, as well as the peak power capacity, which is my new studio field. And I will now drag and drop it to see that for each panel, I may see now the peak power capacity, and the expected delivery would simply be, so I used to have 8,000 here, so I would have this quantity multiplied by the VLOOKUP of my panel in this new list with the index 2 instead, I can now see that I expect to produce this amount of energy, and I can now make a comparison with what the customer told me as well. All right? The last thing I need to do, and the most important part, is now how to synchronize those fields. The way to do it is through a right click. I can now sync with fields. The way it works is that this cell, K5, will be synchronized with what you can see from the sale order line with two elements, first the position and two the fields. So the 17 here should be applied to this one and the other one in the other field. And to find the index, you will go in the cell here and see that it is index 2, and the second one is index 5. So we can simply do it together, so edit sync. This should be the second line with a quantity that's correct, and the other one will be synced with the position 5, and I want to update the unit price instead. Okay? That's it for the configuration. I will empty this out, and we'll play with it together. So, coming back in my sale order for 50 cents, I now have my new smart button, which is accessible through the calculator. I will go here and enter the parameters again. So I will have 8,000, 36 I said, and the roof type right here. And I have this button that will now save back to my SO and see that now I do have 17 as a quantity, and my labor cost didn't follow because I probably didn't save the index 5, but you do see the objective behind it. Ah, okay, thank you, I put 50, thanks. So yeah, you do see the objective and how it works, but I would like to show you now a full calculator and how far we can go. So I'll create now a new quote for my friend, which is Antoine. And Antoine has a specific profile, so if I go in the contact form, you will see that I also cheated again, new field to store the roof type material, because I also want to keep in mind what the customer told me. So Antoine just bought a new house. I'm going to use this quotation template that I used before, and let's jump to the quote calculator here to see what I did for you. So I have a first section about the customer profile, so here I can say that my friend is living alone for now. He's just living in a new house, so the isolation is quite bad. I put it as low. And you can see that I can now have those two measures that take into account both his profile as well as equipment. So he has a pool, so all the consumption also increases with that. And he could have also an electric car as well. And this is customer profile related to have a gauge that gives a range of how we can cover his consumption. Then at the bottom, you will have all the technical characteristics. That was the same as before, so we could have this kind of roof with a three-phase parameter right there. The roof type could be pitched. The roof material is a tile. And from there, you will see that I can see both the whole quote as well as the quantity suggested. My panel can be selected right there. I can even change to see that the consumption and the peak power capacity also changes and reflects on this nice bar for him. I now have only one inverter, so the big piece as we talked before. But if I want to make a configuration in parallel, as we call it, I will now be able to select a micro inverter instead and see that now I have 27 inverters used as for this usage. So with this, it is quite nice. As a salesperson, I can even advise them if he wants to buy the Cybertruck, he can also do it. He can even call his girlfriend to come in. It still is somewhat decent of a consumption, and that is all good. Okay? So that is super nice. I also want to come on those two specific cards right there that talks about the years to be break-even concerning his investment and also the profit after 20 years. For this, I have a sheet, which is the return over investment. And this table is actually quite nice and also easy to build because it only takes the production here that was calculated based on my panel, right? It also takes the total of the quotes as the investments. And then it projects with the expected production from my panels. You can see that there's also loss factor that because you have solar panels that produce less and less with the years, that's normal. You have a 0.5% loss per year. And with a forecast of how the energy price is going to evolve, you can really see how the money will be invested. And after 20 years, which is, by the way, our warranty period, he would win so much money. And if that doesn't convert, I don't know what will. So this table is quite nice. And you may even include it in your quotation. But first, I will just quickly, sorry, I'm losing my voice. I just quickly insert an image as well, because it could be interesting for the technician to see it. And I can even say that for this house, the stopper should be installed like this, also for him to project himself a little bit better. And to include it in my quotes, what I can do is simply go to File, go to Print. I would save this as a PDF, saving here. And now if I take, so all those parameters that will be injected in my quote, I would save. And when I send my quotation there, I would first have my standard Odoo quotation, of course, and to it, I would attach a nice PDF that shows also this extra information for him to see. I would send it, and for those of you who are curious, I would check for the preview, and even in the section notes, you can have all the parameters that he mentioned there for him to know what he has, also what the technician should be taking care of, all right? And cherry on the cake, for those who were wondering what happened on the customer side, we also were able to store all the information in his contact profile so that now if you go to the contacts Kanban view, you can see who has those kinds of roof type, installation, and so on, right? So it is as powerful. I don't think I forgot anything, so that was a good dive in Odoo. So I like to make recaps. Let's make a recap. We worked on the preparation of your data. So I want you to have a good basis for you to use this new feature. So I really want you to take the time and effort to work on your product base. You will thank yourselves for having put the right product categories, tags, prices, costs, and any technical details that will be relevant for your industry, of course, because you will use them in your calculator. Then you will need to start creating your quotation template right now, which means the whole structure, so sections, notes, products, and so on, knowing that all those lines will finally end up in your Odoo spreadsheet where you will manipulate, adjust them. So don't play too much with quantities because it's not necessary. You will be able to work on it afterwards. And finally, I like to say that again, but it really is a huge added value to sit back and see the whole picture. So what elements should be used for you to have the right technical rules applied. This is important for you to also document it for your users to use it afterwards. Then at this point, you'll move to the calculator, and for that, you need data. So you can include both external data, as we've seen with the labor cost table. You can also insert data, so I inserted the list of products, but you can in fact include any list or pivot view from anywhere in Odoo, so any apps. And then finally, then you have the chance to use Studio to customize it and create new fields that will be relevant to your industry. And now that's up to you. So your rules, your game, and your calculator, all right? So to close this talk, I'd like to come back on the added value. So with this tool properly configured, you really have the chance to create new custom quotes that are tailored to your customer needs. You will also be so much more supported and engaged in the decision process because you offer visibility in your quotation, in your offers, and that is super nice to have. You will have quotes that are much easier to create and to design, which is a huge time saver. I also encourage you to create great documents to insert it, as we've seen with the ROI documents. And finally, you have the chance to work in a natively integrated data because you take all the lines from your Odoo sale order, you will jump to Spreadsheet, then fetch data from different sources, external or other apps, compute it, reinsert it, and with Studio, as we mentioned, our customization tool, you can go even one step further. All right, so that was pretty much it. I hope that you are as excited as I am to use this feature, and thanks for listening. Sorry. We'll move to the Q&A now, I guess. Oh, we are over time. We are good? Okay. Do you need me to do something, or? It is the end of it, I guess. Okay, so the next toast just for those who were curious, and that's it. Oof. Well, no questions. Oh, really?
Oh, they just put the questions now.
Shit. Oh, there was no questions. Okay.